Peters did this intentionally, and I hope he didn't. This is something that, might not bother him today or next week or a year from now. It'll be one that it'll be a situation, a moment where he'll always look back at and say, I should have handled that situation better. Ultimately, I had the utmost respect for Jarvis Landry, and I let my emotions get the best of me, and it happens in the game of football. But you got to keep those emotions in check and understand it's just a game. And we out there trying to have fun. We're being ultra competitive, and we're trying to get the best of one another. So that's going to happen. You got to be able to dish it and take it. But I've had situations, when I flicked the crowd off in 2005, never was able to shake back from that emotionally, because it was something that I did, my actions, and it was nobody else. Even though it was to an opposing fan, it wasn't to our crowd. It still happened, and people seen it and picked up on it, and it just wasn't good, for the brand of the National Football League, for myself, or for my image alone. And, taking all the personal aside, you still got to be accountable for your actions. And hopefully, Marcus Peters, if he in his heart feel like he intentionally did that, reach out to Jarvis Landry and apologize to the man. He deserves it.
Shannon, before you go, quickly, Michael, in your long career as a quarterback, going back high school, college, pro, did anybody ever spit at you or on you in a football game?
Nah, Skip, man. And like I said, I've had my share of confrontations with guys. I mean, me and Chris Jenkins used to go at it all the time, and it was nonstop. And look, I used to like to talk trash too when I was getting the best of an opposing defense, and I wanted to let them know that my hard work was paying off, just like, they wanted to do the same thing for me. But we never got to a point where a guy spit on a guy. We had an incident where Terrell Owens spit on D'Angelo Hall, and that was a big thing. And we was like, well, why would you do something like that? I almost rather, handle it a totally different way, man. And not even in the physical. It's about talking about it as men. But nobody has ever done that to me. I always looked at the game of football as I'm out here to have fun. This is not the street. We're not playing ball, in a space where, the rules don't apply. We got to play within the framework of the game and respect the game. And the guys I've always played with always felt that way. And that's why we all have great relationships off the field to this day.
Let me preface this by saying, Mike, I'm a little older than you. I'm a little further south, although you're from Virginia, which is considered the South. I'm from rural South. And I remember as a young boy growing up, my grandpa used to say, boy, he said, you don't spit on anything. He said, you spit on the ground. So in other words, if you spit on me or you spit in my direction, you're telling me I'm lower than the ground. You have forget the little respect, you have no respect. Now, obviously, Jarvis had his back turned, so he didn't know Marcus Peters had done this. Now, I'm going to have a conversation with Marcus Peters. Now, the first thing that needs to come out of his mouth needs to be, bruh, I didn't mean to do that. Anything else comes out of his mouth, I'm firing on him. It's that simple. For you to, first of all, because it started because Marcus had done a great job. He had D'd him up, and he pushed him out of bounds. The ball flew out of bounds, and they're walking back, and they started trash talking. And I think Marcus said something. He might have cursed him, and Jarvis was going back and forth. But if you look at this, it's hard for you to say he was not spitting in his direction. Now, you got the whole left side of the field. Why you got to spit in that direction of that man? And they talk about, well, where I'm from. Bruh, I don't know where you from. I'm assuming you're from California because everybody think, because if they're from Compton or Inglewood or Long Beach or they're from New York, one of the boroughs, they can do where I'm from. Well, bruh, I'm going to put where you from to the test. Because I'm going to tell you where I'm from and how we do things. You do that, you got to knuckle it up. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to you ain't got to respect me, Skip. But I won't let you disrespect me. We get to the point where, okay, you got the best of me. I said something you didn't like, and this is the route that you go to? Man, Marcus, bro, you out your mind. Skip, you know the situation that happened with us.
Do I?
1997, Mike, on a Monday night game. I didn't know anything about it. They asking me after the game, I'm like, what are y'all talking? Because I never stood up and watched the game. I'm sitting on the sideline thinking about what we got to do. 49ers beating our backs in, so I don't even want to look at it on the Jumbotron. Hell, I already know what's going on. I'm on the bench. We can't get anything going. And they say, did you know what happened in the game? I'm like, what happened? What are you talking about what happened? We got beat. That's what happened. No, did you see the incidents with J.J. Stokes and Bill Romanowski? I'm like, no. So I'm like.
Okay, so Bill played linebacker for you guys.
Romo,
J.J. Stokes was a receiver out of UCLA for the 49ers. And Bill?
So the next day.
And Bill spat upon him. He just spit right in his...
spit in his mouth. So he took his mouthpiece out and the spit is hanging down. So I see that the next day. That's a Tuesday, which is our day off. So we come to work on Wednesday. We got to have a team meeting. We got to talk about this. Even though JJ, that's not me. Bro, you on my team and you do that. Do you know that's the ultimate sign of the disrespect?
And by the way, I think we have to identify for those of our younger fans who don't know, Bill's white and JJ is black.
Yes,
okay, here we go.
Yes, that's the N-word, magnified.
Thank you.
And Mike, it wasn't me. It was just the fact that I can't believe you did that, Romo. Yeah, you my team, and I ride with you. But, bro, and even after we had the meeting, I still had a private conversation with Romo 20 minutes after.
And how did that go?
It went really well. I said, Romo, man, you don't even know, bro. I said, read Romo, we had a great, he worked hard, he studied. I think we made each other better, but that's unacceptable. Marcus Peters, that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And you need to call that man and apologize, because if you don't, we got to run it back.
And by the way, bottom line to your story, your spitting incident, it launched your team to a Super Bowl championship because it actually brought you together.
It did.
It took John Elway standing up, which he didn't do very often.
He didn't.
And he said, we got to have his back.
He said, man, doing everything he possibly can. He's basically on his knees begging.
Yep.
He says, guys, I'll put myself on the line. I believe him. He apologized. He said, I believe him. He apologized, and we got to move on because the prize that we're trying to achieve is still in front of us. We left the meeting, and we were good. But, hey, Marcus, you need to call Jarvis, and you need to apologize.
So let me add my 2 cents from a distance, trying to analyze Marcus Peters and Bill Romanowski, because they, to me, come out of the same mold.
Yes.
They're both very gifted. Bill was at what he did, because everywhere he went, people won championships.
Right.
But Marcus, very gifted. But he feels like, because I always feel like he's a little insecure about, because it's a hard position, man. You're going to get scorched.
Yeah.
He's a cluer and a gambler and a jumper. He's going to jump routes and he's going to get scorched, and he might scorch you, right?
Yes.
But he plays with a little bit of insecurity, so he thinks he has to win the psychological game as well as the physical game. So he has to play with you. He has to antagonize you and hope he can get you out of your head, which you often did also. But this gets down and dirty. Right? And Romanowski would get down and dirty.
Yes.
And it didn't matter, black guy, white guy, he's just going to go. And if it requires spitting on somebody, he's just going to do it to get a mental edge on him. But to me, to frame this whole thing, within the sports confine, the ultimate act of human disrespect is that. And I'm with you. I don't advocate fighting, but if you're going to spit on me, then we're going to go.
Ain't no fight. Hey, as soon as you puck it, if I see you, as soon as you puck your lips up,
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It's definitely going to be on. But for Marcus Peters, what he got to understand, in the history of the NFL, and dating back to as far as I can remember, there's only been a couple spitting incidents, maybe 3. I remember Romo, D. Hall, and Terrell Owens, and now this don't happen. So when it happens, it's going to be magnified times 10, and you're at the forefront, bro. You got to. It's a call to action for you right now to step up and be a man, and he need to recognize that first and foremost.
Because the reason why you don't see things like this happen is because everybody knows this is so far out of bounds. This is so unacceptable that you could probably have to fight somebody. You do that. That's understood. Even if you walking on the street and somebody spit on you, you got to run it. You gonna get fired on.
It's a game changer.
Yes,
game changer.
And you do. And the thing is, in that direction of all the field, think about how big a football field is. It's just at that moment, after you just got done saying something to him, you're going to turn around and spit in that man's direction. Man, Lord have...
The worst part about it is that they won the game. It's the fact that they won the game and you still disrespected this man. If you did it, and when I was watching it, I was kind of, all right, did he mean to do it? And,
I didn't see him doing the game.
I did not either. They didn't capture.
He had the whole left side of the field where he could have spit. You could have spit. He could have spat anywhere. So it's no excuse for that.
It's just something. That is the ooh, Lord forgive me, but he's wrong for this. He knows he's wrong. He did it, and then he tried it, and he casually just walked by like, bro, where I'm from, we got a problem with you. Well, if you got a problem with it, you should have. Why'd you spit? And so at that very, and I'm not saying, look, sometimes it has to, but at that very moment, after you just got into a heated conversation, he's walking away. At that moment, you don't turn your head left. You don't keep walking and do it. You spit in that man's direction, and we're supposed to say, oh, that was just an isolated incident. Marcus, you're wrong. You need to call the man and apologize. That's what you need to do. And Jarvis, hopefully you accept it, but if y'all play again, if y'all on the same team next year, and he ain't apologized, hey, well, he got to see me.
Yeah, I agree with all of you.